Hello everyone, this is Mandeep Burmi from ASA Driving School. So we are doing a live video. So in this video I will talk about how you should be driving, how to drive in your driving test. So we will be looking at how to turn left at traffic lights, how to turn right, proper way to lane change, and some residential area as well. Now I haven't really done any live videos on YouTube before, so I'm not sure how this will turn out. But so I'm just gonna drive around maybe let's say 10-15 minutes, and then if everything is going good and if you guys like this live video, let me know, and then I can do a lot more live videos for you guys. And you can also let me know what exactly you want to see in the video. So in this video we will just stay in we are in Winnipeg, Manitoba right now. So we will drive around in this area, and then yeah, look at some driving rules. So let's get going. Okay, so the first thing, before you start moving from parked position, you want to signal left and left shoulder check. So right now we are parked on a two-way street, and curb is on the right hand side, so that means I have to signal left and left shoulder check to indicate I am pulling away from the curb. So I will signal shoulder check left, looks good. Even if you're going straight, like, you still have to signal and shoulder check to indicate you're gonna start moving from parked position. So let's do a lane change. So left mirror check, signal, shoulder check, and then we change if it's safe. So proper way to change lane is first you want to look in the mirror. So if you want to change lane to the left, you look in the left mirror, and then you do then you put the signal on to indicate to other drivers that you are going to change lane, and then you do shoulder check to make sure there's no one else in your blind spot, like no cyclist, motorcycle, or other vehicles in your blind spot. So we will be doing a left turn. No, actually let's go straight from this intersection. So we see a stop line here, so we have to do a full stop before the stop line. Now if you go over a stop line in your driving test, that's going to be a demerit, so that definitely it will be a mistake. Same thing with the sidewalks. Like if you're going over sidewalk, that's a possible automatic fail. It depends on the situation, because if the sidewalk there is a pedestrian who wants to cross, then you will fail your driving test if you go over the sidewalk. So in this on this street we did not see any speed limit signs, so that means it's 50 kilometers maximum. Now I suggest you drive 5 below the posted speed limit. If you don't see a sign, that means it's 50 maximum. And right now we are doing about 45, and now we see a crosswalk coming up, so it's a pedestrian corridor. Lights are not flashing, but we still have to check left and right to make sure we don't see a pedestrian who wants to cross. This traffic light here, we will be turning left, so left signal on. Now your signal should be on about 30 meters before the intersection you want to turn on. So 30 meters is approximately 100 feet. And when you stop behind a car, you should be able to see the back wheels on the pavement. So you want to leave about like 8 or 10 feet distance. So make sure you're not going too close to other cars. So we are turning left. Light is green. This white car is also turning, so that means we are good to go. And there was no other there was no pedestrian who was crossing. So when you're turning left, you're checking oncoming traffic, and before you go you also need to check to make sure there's no pedestrian. On the right hand side we see a sign showing maximum 30 kilometers, but below the sign it says Monday to Friday, September to June. So in July and August, the speed limit here is 50 kilometers. So you always want to keep looking at the signs as well. And further down we will be turning right. So same thing, when you're about 30 meters from the intersection, that's when you will put the signal on. Now if your signal is too late, too soon, wrong signal, missing signal, that will be a deduction in the test. So let's do a right turn here. So right signal on. I'm checking on the sidewalk. There's no pedestrian. My light is green, so that means we are good to go. When you're turning right, you want to keep your turns nice and tight, close to the curb, within 3 feet. Now we see a railway track, so I'm checking left, right to make sure train is not coming. Another 30 sign. Again, we don't need to follow 30 at this point. Crosswalk, we are checking on both sides. This traffic light, we're gonna be turning right, so signal right. Light is red, so that means I have to come to a complete stop. Now the car in front of me, they are turning left, so that's why they are staying closer to the center line. And we are turning right, and we are staying closer to the curb. So very important point, for your driving test. If you're turning left, you want to keep your car closer to the center line. If you're turning right, you keep your car closer to the right side. If you don't do that in your driver's test, that will be a deduction. When you're waiting for the green light, you can already observe everything. So right now I'm checking on the right hand side. I don't see a cyclist or another pedestrian or a pedestrian who wants to cross. So when the light turns green, that means we are good to go. This light, I know it takes a while, so it might take another 10 or 15 seconds. So again guys, this video we are doing it in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and if you have any questions if you like to see more videos like this, let me know. Post your questions in the comments below, and I will do more videos. I have done some videos in Edmonton, Alberta as well, and there will be a lot more videos coming in Ontario, in Toronto area. So if you're going for your driving test, your G1 or G2, I can definitely help you guys with that as well. So now the light turns green, so we are good to go. We are turning right. So same thing here, I'm staying in the right lane. So you always want to go in your first lane first. You're in your first available lane. So in this situation, this is my first available lane. Sometimes you see a parked car in this lane, or if there's construction going on, then you can go in the next lane. So speed limit sign, there was a speed limit sign, so it's 60 kilometers maximum. So I'm doing about 55 right now. 55, 57. You want to go a little bit below the posted speed limit, just in case if you get distracted, then you still have a little bit room to play with. So we will be turning left at traffic light. So I'm checking my left mirror, signal left on, and doing a left shoulder check. And we're gonna be turning left at traffic lights, so left signal on. Now the light turns amber, so that means I have to come to a complete stop. So I'm looking for a stop line. It's faded, but we can see it on the side, so I do a full stop before the stop line. Now on this intersection, we have a separate light for the left turns. You can, if you I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but the first two lights, they look a little bit different than the other three lights we have on the right hand side. So the first two light, the background or the base of the light is black in color, so that means it's only for left turns. If you see a black light on the left hand side, they are meant for left turns, and if you see a black light on the right hand side, they are meant for right turns. But this rule is only in Manitoba, so every province is little bit different. If you're watching this video and if you're in a different province, this rule most likely it might not apply to you. So you always want to check with your local driving instructor as well. So we are just waiting for the light to turn green, and when you're sitting on a red light, you still want to have both hands on the steering wheel. So it's it's a good practice to keep your hands on the steering wheel all the time. Okay, so now light turns green. I'm checking left and right just to make sure the cross traffic has stopped, and now we are good to go. Speed limit sign on the right hand side, maximum 60 kilometers. So same thing here, we will be doing about 5. Now the posted speed limit ideal conditions. So winter is coming up, we are almost done with the summer, and then the signal sign doesn't apply to you anymore. So you always drive according to the road conditions and the weather. So clear and the roads are they are in good condition, so that means we can drive speed limit. Right now behind this truck, first thing I will do is right mirror check. Looks clear, then I put the right signal on. Shoulder check, looks empty, then we change lane. Cancel my signal before the side street on the right hand side, because we don't want to confuse other drivers. If you keep your signal for a long time, you're confusing other people because your signal was misleading. People might think you're driving on that street. Turning right this intersection, so I put the right signal back on. Again, your signal should be on about 30 meters before the intersection. And we are turning right. I'm keeping my car closer to the right side. No pedestrians here. Slowing down, checking traffic on the left, looks empty. And now we are good to go. Staying in the right lane. On the right hand side, we see a sign showing this lane is going to end. So I have to do a proper lane change procedure, which is left mirror check, signal, shoulder check, and then turn the steering. Now, during driving lessons, the common mistake that students do when they're changing lane, they will actually, when they do shoulder check, they turn the steering at the same time. So they already start drifting in the other lane when they're still checking. So you want to be very careful, because first you want to do a shoulder check. When you're doing shoulder check, that time you want to keep your steering straight, because you're checking to make sure the other lane is clear, it's safe to change lane. If it looks safe, you don't see another vehicle in the other lane, that's when you turn the steering. Railway tracks, we are checking on both sides. Maintaining distance from the car in front of me, you want to have a minimum 2 seconds. We suggest you have 4 seconds, but you need a minimum 2 seconds. Speed limit here is 50 kilometers maximum. There was a post, it's speed limit sign on the left hand side. Another pedestrian corridor, so we are checking on both sides, left and right. Right now we are going towards downtown, so downtown in Winnipeg, and we are doing about 45 kilometers. So another pedestrian corridor, so I'm covering my brake and checking on both sides. Now when you're doing that, like, you don't want to step on the brake because you're just checking. Okay, so what you want to do is you remove your foot from the gas pedal, cover your brake, but don't press on it. If you see a pedestrian who wants to cross, then you stop, because pedestrians, they get the right of way. So looking at my speed again, so I suggest like every 3 or 4 seconds you want to look at your speedometer to make sure you're not going too slow or you're not going over the speed limit. If you go over the speed limit, that's a definitely automatic fail. But if you're going too slow, then it depends. Like you're allowed to drive 10 below the posted speed limit. So if it's 50 maximum, you can drive between 40 and 50. We suggest you drive 5 below the speed limit, but if you drive 10 below, it's still okay. But if you start driving, let's say in 50 zone, you're doing only 30 kilometers without any reason, like the road condition is good, weather is clear, and other people are driving at 45 or 50 and you are doing only 30 kilometers, that's when you get in trouble. That's a possible automatic fail in the driving test, because going too slow creates interference with other traffic. So further down, we will be turning left, so I'm going to change lane to the left. So I'm doing mirror check. I see a white car and he's speeding up, so I'm just going to let him pass. Now I signal left, shoulder check, and now it's safe. Then I move over to the left hand side. Light is green, so that means we are good to go. Traffic lights, we will be turning left, so left signal, shoulder check. Now shoulder check here is optional because it's a new lane. I came into this lane right way when it starts. That means shoulder check is optional. But if the distances are greater than a car length, let's say if you drive in the other lane first and then you change lane, now there could be traffic already in this lane, then you have to do shoulder check. So light is red, so we are slowing down. I'm stopping behind this white car. This guy is also turning left. And same thing here. Now the light turns green. Now this car is supposed to go in the intersection. Some people, they don't establish, but you're supposed to go in the intersection on a green light. In your driver's test, if you don't do that, that's a possible automatic fail. We're gonna be turning right at traffic lights, so lane change to the right with a mirror check, signal and shoulder check. Light is green. Pedestrians, I just have to see where these people are going. So looks like they want to cross, so I'm just gonna wait for oh, they are going other way actually. So that means I'm good to go. Now when you notice pedestrians are that close to the intersection, we don't know which direction they are going. So it's always good to slow down a little bit and see what they are doing. So that's what I did in this situation. You know, I was slowing down over there, and I know I have a green light, but I have to see where the pedestrian wants to go. And pedestrians, they wanted to cross other way, so that means they have to wait for their, you know, for their signal. So that means my signal was green, so I get the right of way. Now the arrow is already amber. Now the arrow is gone, so I have to go in the intersection and establish. So I will stop about here, and because I don't want to go too far in the intersection, because if I go too far in the intersection, I will actually create interference with other traffic then. So this car is going straight, this white truck is turning left. So from this lane, some people, you know, they are going straight, some people are turning left. Looks like now other cars, they are turning. So now we are good to go, because now the intersection is clear. And we are going in the first available lane. So let's do a lane change here. So lane change to the right with a signal and shoulder check. Right now the light is red, so we are slowing down, stopping you know, behind this white car, maintaining distance, keeping both hands on the steering. After this traffic light, we will be changing lane to the right. So same thing, we want to do a proper lane change procedure. So a mirror check, nobody here, signal, shoulder check, and now we go in the other lane. Now this white car in front of me was slowing down, so I had to step on the brake a little bit to maintain my distance. That actually, that's a very good point as well, because a lot of time in the driving lessons, students, they are actually too focused on you know, looking at the other lane, and they totally forget to observe traffic in front of them. So you also have to make sure the car in front of you is not slowing down, because if they are slowing down, then you have to slow down as well to maintain your distance. So slowing down here, we are turning right, staying in the first available lane. Speed limit, it's 50 kilometers maximum. We are doing about 47 right now. 47, 48 is it's good. And we will be turning right again at traffic lights. We're going down and some one-way streets as well. So if you guys looking for driving lessons, give me a call or give me a text. My number is 204-509-4175. Again, it's 204-509-4175. I am a certified driving instructor, and I will help you guys with your driving. So it doesn't matter if you're going for your basic road test, advanced road test. If you're in Winnipeg, Manitoba, there's only one driving test. Doesn't matter where you're located, give me a call, send me a text message, and I will help you guys out. So now we are going in downtown. We see a sign on the right hand side showing a pedestrian crosswalk is coming up. Another sign on the left hand side, same thing. It's just a warning sign that crosswalk is coming up. And now we see actual crosswalk, and I'm checking on both sides, left and right. No pedestrians here, that means we are good to go. So now we are on a one-way street. Now on a one-way street, if you notice, we only see white lines on the road, because we are on a one-way street. So you're not going to see a yellow line in the middle of the road, because when you see a yellow line in the center of the street, that means you're on a two-way street. On a one-way street, if you also look at the signs, like the signs on the left-hand side and the signs on the right-hand side, you can read all the signs. Because you're on a one-way street, traffic is moving in the same direction. On a two-way street, you can only see the signs on the right-hand side, because the signs on the left-hand side, you will only see the back side of the signs, because those signs, they are actually meant for the oncoming traffic. Speed limit is still 50 kilometers maximum. So right now we have a red light, so slowing down a little bit, because we have to come to a full stop here and then wait for the green light. The other thing to notice on a one-way street, if you notice the parked cars on the left-hand side, they're facing in the same direction where we are going, right? So all the traffic is moving in the same direction. These are all your indications that you're driving on a one-way street. If you see only the white lines on the road, parked cars in the same direction on both sides, and signs on the left hand side and on the right hand side, they all are facing you, you can read all the signs. So let's do a lane change here. So a mirror check, signal, shoulder check, and now we can change lane. We will be turning left at traffic lights, so we have to change one more lane to the left. So lane change to the left, and if your signal goes off, then just put it back on. Light is green, there's no more pedestrian crossing, and this is our first available lane. Now the closest lane, the left lane, there were parked cars in that lane, so that means that lane is not available anymore. So this lane becomes your first available lane. Now this one is also a one-way street, so same thing here, parked cars on the left hand side and on the right hand side, they all are facing in the same direction. Light turns green, quickly check, make sure the cross traffic has stopped, and now we will be going straight from this intersection, but further down we're gonna actually take a right turn. So after this intersection, I will change lane to the right. Now you don't want to change lane in the middle of the intersection unless you have to. Like if you don't have any other option, then you can change lane in the middle of the intersection. Otherwise, you shouldn't be doing it. So light turns amber, come to a complete stop. Now, here's another common mistake that new drivers do, or even a lot of experienced drivers, when they, after getting their license, they get bad habits. When they see amber light, they speed up. So amber light means you should be slowing down and you should come to a complete stop if it's safe to do so. Sometimes you have to go through the amber light if you're already too close to the lights, you're doing about like 40 kilometers, you're going fast, then you can go through the intersection. But if you are still behind the stop line, your speed is slow, if you can stop safely, then you should stop on an amber light instead of speeding. On the right hand side we have a bicycle lane, and that's why there was a solid white line indicating it's a bicycle lane. We will be turning right on this traffic light. If you notice, the line will change from solid to broken, so that means if you're turning right, you do a right shoulder check, go in the nearest lane. Light is green, so that means we are good to go, and we want to go in the first available lane. So that was a very good point. On the right hand side there was a bicycle lane, but before the intersection the line actually changed from a solid line to a broken white line. That means if you're turning right, you have to enter in the bicycle lane. You should be doing a right shoulder check, and then you go inside the bicycle so turning right again. Now this street here, two-way street, so we can see a yellow line in the middle of the road, so that means it's a two-way street. Light turns amber, so I'm stopping. Okay, see, I did not speed up here. I'm not trying to beat the light. I'm actually slowing down. There was a timer, I saw, only 2 seconds left, and then 1 second, so I'm still far from the intersection. Light turns amber, so that means I have to come to a complete stop, and I have to stop before the stop line. Some intersections, stop lines, they are not visible. If you don't see a stop line, you can stop before the sidewalk. If you don't have a sidewalk, then you can stop before the edge of the curb. But all the main intersections, most likely there will be a stop line. Another amber light here, so same thing, we are slowing down. Now right now we are on a two-way street, but after this intersection we will be turning right next, and you want to look at the after this intersection there will be overhead signs, and you should be looking at the overhead signs. The overhead sign will say this lane is only for the buses. Okay, so after this intersection this lane actually becomes a bus lane, so that means we have to get in the other lane. So if you look at the overhead sign, it says buses only, so that means I have to change lane to the right. So with a mirror signal and shoulder check, change lane to the right. Now why on the right hand side? Because this street here, it's a one-way street going to the right hand side. Okay, so that means I could not turn left. So there's construction going on in the first lane, so now I can change lane to the left. But I want to turn right on this intersection, so I will actually change it back to the right hand side. So signal, shoulder check, change lane to the right, slowing down, maintaining distance from the car in front of me. And we will be turning right on this traffic light. So slowing down, checking pedestrians, nobody here, going in my first available lane. Speed limit is 50 kilometers. If you don't see a speed limit sign, that means 50 maximum. Red light, so I'm slowing down, stopping before the stop line, so complete stop. So again everyone, if you have any questions, let me know. If you guys wanna if you guys want me to do a different video, let me know. If you're not clear on how to turn left at traffic lights, or right turns, residential areas, stop signs, parallel parking, anything, uphill, downhill, so yeah, let me know, or perpendicular parking, so I can do a separate video for that. Okay, so we are going straight from this intersection, but let's see if we can change lane to the left, because I want to go straight from this from the traffic light. So doing a mirror check, signal, shoulder check, looks empty. Light turns amber, so slowing down, and we are stopping behind this golden car here. Both hands on the steering wheel. Now if you are in Winnipeg, Manitoba, okay, so Winnipeg has only driving test, and so let's talk about Winnipeg driving test for a while. So parallel parking is the very first thing that you do in the driving test. If you pass, they take you out on the road. But if you fail your parallel parking, that means they will discontinue your driver's test. And the driving portion of the test is about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, that's a Manitoba driving test, I should say, Manitoba driving test. But if you are in Alberta, then you have to do two different driving tests: basic driving test and advanced driving test. Basic driving test is about half an hour, and advanced driving test is about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Alright, same thing if you are in Ontario side, you will be doing two different driving tests to get your G license in Ontario. So I will be doing a lot of videos in Ontario as well. So if you are in Ontario and need some help, let me know. So traffic lights, we will be turning left. So I will signal left, and we are in the left turning lane. Now if you look at on the light, on this light pole, there is a sign showing from the left lane you can only go left, but from the right lane you can go left or right. So you always want to look at the signs. Now we are in the inner lane, so when we turn, we have to make sure we stay in the inner lane. So on this traffic light, most likely we will get a turning signal like a green arrow. Green arrow give us priority. So green arrow means we go first, but if you see a solid green light only, that means you have to yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. So alright, so we are going in the first available lane, and you want to keep your turns nice and tight, you know, closer to the center of the street, or center of the center of the road. If there is a divider or like a boulevard in the middle, you want to stay closer to the boulevard. This traffic light, we are going straight. So after this intersection, we will change lane to the right, if it's safe. Okay, so let's do a lane change procedure. Now I know there is another red light, so traffic is already slowing down, but now that light turns green, so we won't be able to change lane here because traffic is, you know, traffic ahead of me. It's not moving yet, so car came to a complete stop again. That doesn't give me any time to change lane. So now traffic is moving, so after this intersection we will try to change lanes. So I'm looking after the intersection, looking in the mirror, signal, shoulder check, looks empty.